Why sexual assault is so prevalent, yet so under-discussed in Tigray. Before we start, subscribe the channel and share the video to your friends, and also comment your opinion on video. Picture this. A bustling open-air market in capital of Tigray, Mekelle, Ethiopia, the heat of the summer of 2023 pressing down. I was haggling over a pair of cloud-shaped wire sunglasses when a man walked behind me and committed an unthinkable act. He touched me, his hands exploring my body, his proximity invading my personal space. For a few heartbeats, I was frozen in shock and disbelief until he went further. Jolted back to reality, I spun around, a yell erupting from my throat. My mother, standing beside me, did her best to defuse the situation, shooing the man away. But what happened next was just as shocking as the assault. Those who had witnessed the incident, from the peanut sellers to a woman with her children, they laughed. The normalization of sexual violence was starkly apparent in their reactions. The laughter of those who witnessed the assault, that's what stays with me. This incident was not an isolated event, but a disturbing pattern I came to witness. The bustling marketplaces, the quiet lanes, the crowded bus stops, no place seemed immune. This was not just my story, but a shared narrative among many who had traveled to Mekelle. Each tale was a chilling echo of the other, painting a panorama of normalized sexual violence. During that summer, I encountered numerous instances of assault, each one leaving a deeper scar than before. Hushed whispers of similar experiences began to fill the spaces I moved in. From a woman who was groped in a crowded train to a teenager who was molested in broad daylight, it was a grim reality that was impossible to ignore. The region of Tigray, where Mekelle is located, seemed to carry an especially heavy burden. In this landscape, marred by other forms of violence, sexual assault was just another facet of the daily struggle. Yet, it was a struggle that was often overlooked, laughed off, and brushed under the rug. The laughter I heard that day at the market was not just an isolated reaction, but a troubling testament to the pervasive culture of sexual violence. It served as a stark reminder of how deep-rooted this problem is within society. These painful encounters served as a stark reminder of the deep-rooted problem of sexual assault in society. The aftermath of sexual assault goes beyond the physical act. This is a truth that's often overlooked. The psychological impact of such a violation is profound and lasting. The victims are left feeling vulnerable, violated, and traumatized. They are often haunted by the experience, reliving it in their minds, a constant reminder of their ordeal. This psychological trauma can manifest in various ways. Anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, these are just a few of the mental health conditions that victims of sexual assault may grapple with. The trauma can affect their personal lives, their professional lives, their relationships. It can be a lifelong battle. But the unseen consequences of sexual assault extend beyond the victims themselves. Society too bears the burden of this pervasive issue. The laughter that followed the assault in Mekelle is indicative of a deep-seated societal problem. A lack of understanding, a lack of empathy, a lack of support for victims. This lack of understanding only perpetuates the cycle of violence. It normalizes the behavior, sends a message that it's acceptable, that it's something to be laughed at. It's a grim reflection of a society that's failing its most vulnerable members. There is a desperate need for change, a need for education, for awareness, for empathy, a need to break the cycle, to stand up against the normalization of sexual violence. The scars of sexual assault are not just physical, they are mental and emotional, and they last a lifetime. We can no longer afford to stand by and let this continue unchecked. The time has come for us to challenge this harmful norm. It's not just about raising our voices in outrage, it's about sparking a profound shift in our collective consciousness, in how we understand and respond to sexual assault. Education is key. By teaching our children, our friends, and ourselves, we can begin to unravel the twisted threads of ignorance and misogyny. We need to foster empathy, to show that every person who suffers this atrocity is someone's child, someone's friend. They are people, not objects of amusement or scorn. Understanding, too, is vital. We must understand that laughing at the pain of others is not a sign of strength, but a symptom of society's sickness. We have to understand that it is not the victim who should feel shame, but the perpetrator. It's time we all stand up against sexual assault. Together, we can make a difference. Let's break the silence. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.